Hey, so I make a semi-big deal in this channel about being a Linux user, and I am. My daily driver is a Linux Lenovo laptop running currently Baslite, and I always kind of say that I'm not an Apple fanboy, and I don't consider myself to be one. But having said that, I do have an Apple Watch, an iPad, an iPhone, and a MacBook Air. So, yeah. Now, on the one hand, I do pride myself in the fact that, and it's a weird thing to be proud of, I suppose, but I'd never purchased a new Apple product for myself. I purchased a new iPad for my wife for her birthday a couple of years ago, but all the stuff I have is used or refurbished or whatever. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about specifically the new MacBook, the budget MacBook, and how Apple has a bit of a window here where they could really grab some more people into their Apple ecosystem if they play their cards right. So we'll see. Let's take a look. So Apple is known and loathed in some quarters as being a premium or just plain expensive brand. While that is demonstrably true, it's also true that Apple has offered somewhat entry-level devices on most of their product lines for several years, like the SE model phones and watches and the base iPad models. These models are usually not stupidly expensive and usually of good quality. The new MacBook that is reportedly forthcoming should be an interesting entry-level Apple laptop, which is possibly something that might convince more Windows users to jump the fence and try out this Apple thing instead of continuing to be pushed around by Microsoft. It could also lure more users into the Apple ecosystem as a whole. I think the cost of the new model is really important. From my perspective, and I'm a pretty normal guy as far as tech aspirations, if they can offer it for $599 US, then they may actually have something. I think $699 would be a bit too close to the on-sale price of the current MacBook Air at around $750. In fact, Mac computers in general are looking to be a better deal for at least part of 2026, as Apple's buying agreements will let them avoid their RAM and storage costs soaring out of control, at least in the short term, which is not necessarily the case for some of their Windows computer competitors. This new and supposedly smaller MacBook should have an A18 Pro phone chip, rather than the M-series laptop chip to keep the cost down. This chip does have a solid single-core score between an M3 and an M4 computer chip, but falls behind on multi-core benchmarks. It may also come with 8 or possibly 12 gigabytes of RAM, which might be seen as a problem for some users. That said, it would probably still perform competitively against low to mid-range Windows laptops. It seems to me, as just some old guy on the internet, that Apple could use this new laptop as a kind of a loss leader to maybe woo more people away from Microsoft while all these crazy cost increases are going on all around them. But we'll see. Apple's March 4th event is where we should find out more about all this, and for the first time in a long time, I'm actually quite curious to see if Apple can pull something out of the hat with this one. What do you folks think? So that's another video in the can. If you found this interesting or informative or even funny, give me a like and maybe even subscribe. And remember, be excellent to each other.